بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. من يهدي الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today, inshallah, we're going to continue Surat AlMarij from Ayah 11 till Ayah 23. Last time we spoke about the first 10 ayat of Surat AlMarij and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clarifying to us what's meant by Al-Ma'arij. And we mentioned that Al-Ma'arij is a plural, which means different ways of ascent between the heaven and the earth. And the single is Mi'raj, and we mentioned about the journey of Isra and Mi'raj for the Prophet. We know last time that the angels, when they are ascending to the heaven, or descending from the heaven, there is special or certain ways of ascent and descent for them, subhanallah, and all this from the ghaib, from the unseen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling that these are from the ayat, from the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that created this huge universe, and how from all other things that we are not seeing also. And Allah started the surah by a disbeliever who is asking a question about the day of judgment, which is definitely it will happen. And this is from the meanings that we mentioned last time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling his prophet that this day will be equivalent to 50,000 years in its time. So it will be a long day. Of course, on the disbelievers, for the believers will be much more shorter. Just as it came in the hadith, it will be between as a time between the Salat al-Asr and Salat al-Dhuhr. So at the end here of the previous ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning to his prophet to be patient. And this type of patient is beautiful patient. فَاصْبِرْ صَبْرًا جَمِيلًا. And we mentioned what's meant by beautiful patience. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started to from ayah 6 or from ayah 8 to mention what will happen during this day, that the sky will be dark black like the severely boiled oil, and the mountains will be like the fluffy wool, and the best friend will not at the time able to ask the help of his friend. Then the ayat we're going to take inshallah today is here in ayah 11, يُبَصَّرُونَهُم. Here يُبَصَّرُونَهُم, the word يُبَصَّرُونَهُم, a lot of meaning, actually, a lot of things. It contained the verb and the noun, the one who will go on with this verb, or who go with this. When I say I go, for example, so I as a noun and go as a verb, and another noun who will do that. So you can see it is a long word with a lot of meanings. يُبَصَّرُونَهُم means that the angels will make them see. The angels will make them see. So see is the verb, and made them, which is expressed by the hum, which is a pronoun here that refer to the disbelievers, and who will make them see is the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that day, يوم القيامة. Now we are still in the day of judgment. Allah is describing what will happen in this day. So what the angels will make them see, those disbelievers, will make them see their friends, their relatives, their group of people he used to live with. He will see the disbeliever, all those people, and at that time he will he love to. يود means love. يود means love. He extremely love to. يود المجرم, the criminal. The criminal here is stands for the disbeliever, that he is a criminal. And usually when we are describing certain nouns came in the Quran, this is what we allow to do. Yani we allow to say on the disbelievers that they are refusing to believe in Allah and they are opposing Islam, that they are mujrimeen. Why we are allowed to say about them like that? Because the Quran described them like that. So Allah is describing here this believer, يَوَدُّ الْمُجْرِمُ, he would love this mujrim or criminal or disbeliever, لَوْ يَفْتَدِي مِنْ عَذَابِ يَوْمِئِذٍ. Here the word لَوْ يَفْتَدِي, يَفْتَدِي means to be ransomed, someone to pick up him from this punishment, and he can pay whatever he wants, whatever he own of money or of as we're going to see now, or he will sacrifice by the closest relationship he has in this life, for the sake that he just be ransomed from this azab. طيب. Here we're going to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us how much the disbeliever will sacrifice by everyone, by the closest one he loves in his heart. And then you can see these ayahs, end of ayah 11, 12, 13, and 14, like circles. You can imagine it like circles around this disbeliever, circles of relationship. You have people around you in this life, and the Quran accurately describing the love, your love to them, how it varies. Some of them you love so much, or greater than others, or bigger than others. How we understood that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying about the disbeliever at that day, which is the day of judgment, he would like to ransom himself even if he sacrificed with his son or daughter. Bibani. Bani means his children. Children, whether sons or daughters. And you know that in this life, when you ask someone who is the first one in your heart you love truly, is children, his children or her children. So you can't, this is something that nature, that Allah put in our hearts, that first number one in our love is our children. So here the disbeliever is telling that the Quran, that he would like to sacrifice first by his children, the closest, and then with his wife, وَصَاحِبَتِهِ. And then the third circle is his brother. The siblings came in the third place. So the first is the children, the second is the wife or husband, and the third is the siblings. The fourth came is فَصِيلَتِهِ. What is فَصِيلَتِهِ? فَصِيلَتِهِ is nearest relation, or the nearest people, or maybe friends around him, the people looks like him, فَصِيلَتِهِ, or he belongs to him. التي تؤوي. التي تؤوي means that sheltered him. If you're going to translate it for nowadays, we can see the people of his country. If he is Egyptian, the Egyptian people. If he's Pakistani, the Pakistani people. Indian, the same. So this is فصيلته التي تؤوي, and people like him, who raised in the same environment like him. Okay? Then the circle starts to be more wider. It came in ayah 14, وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. And whosoever on this earth. See? So it started from his children, and ended by whosoever on this earth that can what could save him. ثم ينجي. Anyone can save him. You see here, the Quran is describing for you the feeling of this disbeliever from despair. He is despair. He is yani, feeling that no way out, which is a very bad feeling actually. And we mentioned that from the punishment of the disbelievers in the day of judgment is physical and emotional. Not only physical, not only his body being in pain, but his feelings also in pain. So here describing how much this person is desperate. He desperate that he's losing hope that anyone can help him, the nearest to the farthest person in this earth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's mentioning yawaddu, means yawaddu, he love. He loved this criminal, that all these people to ransom him or to save him by just pushing them to the punishment instead of himself. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is responding to that feeling or what this criminal may say by saying no. Kalla. You will not ransom yourself. The criminal would desire to ransom himself from the punishment of the day by his children, his wife, his brother, and his fasila who sheltered him, and all that are in the earth so that he might be saved. So Allah is answering him, no, no way, no ransom will be accepted from him, even if he brought all of the people of the earth as ransom, and the greatest wealth that he could find, even if it was enough gold to fill the entire earth, even the child that he had, who was dearer to him than the last beat of his heart in the life of this world, he would wish to use the child as ransom for himself against the torment of Allah on the day of judgment. So Allah is telling no, kalla. What will happen? It is lava. Innaha lava. Indeed, it is lava. Here, lava is another name of the hellfire. We mentioned that the hellfire has a lot of names mentioned in the Quran, like Naru Jahannam, like Al-Hutama, and As-Sa'ir, all these other names for the Nar Jahannam. And we mentioned, as we mentioned for the Day of Judgment, also a lot of names mentioned about the day of Judgment. And every name actually is giving a new description, showing how much this hellfire is painful, and every time add a new meaning for the description of the hellfire. Here lava, what is lava? It's okay, it's a hellfire, but what is the difference between it and a sa'ir, for example, or nar jahannam? So it's being described in next ayah 16. Who is lava? Lava is nazza'atan lishawa. Nazza'atan lishawa, actually, shawa, the word shawa, according to Ibn Abbas, is the skin of the head. The skin of the head. We have something called scalp. What is scalp? Scalp is the skin covering the head. Covering the bone of the head is called scalp or shawa. So what is naza'a? Naza'a means removing this skin, removing, a remover of the shawa, naza'a. You can see how much this fire will scrap the skin out and and flesh and of the bone. Skin will scrap the flesh and the skin of the bone until it leaves nothing remaining. So a shawa means, as we mentioned, Ibn Abbas mentioned, it is the scalp or the skin of the head that will be eaten by this nar or lava. So you can see here how much the ayah is very strong and very painful. If we just saying it, we feel that something, yani, it's not easy to remove the skin of the head. Then what else? What else for the description of lava? تدعو من أدبر وتولى وجمع وأوعى. تدعو means calling, to call. Those who adbara turn their backs and turn away. Turn their back and turn away. What is the difference between adbara wa tawalla? Adbara, when you have someone is talking to you and then he gave you his back. This is adbara. And then start to go away. This is tawalla. So here the description of the disbeliever that he gave his back to the Quran and to the Sunnah and he didn't believe in Allah and then start to move away in his disbelieving way. So Laza will call such people to come to her. تدعو من أدبر وتولى. طيب, what else? وجمع فأوعى. يعني means that he will collect and hide. فأوعى يعني collected in something and to be hidden from people. Meaning the fire will call out to its children whom Allah created for it, determining that they will perform the deed deserving of it in the worldly life. So it will call them on the day of judgment with an eloquent and articulate tongue. This is also from the ghaib, how the hellfire will speak. The hellfire will speak and call, and the Jannah the same. And this is from the unseen, we just believe in it as came in the Quran. Then it will pick them out from the people of the gathering, just as birds pick seeds. This is because they were, as Allah said, of those who turn their back and turn away from His words, and this means they denied with their heart and abandoned the performance of deed with their limbs. جمع فأوعى, collect. جمع means collect, meaning he gathered or collected wealth, piling it up, and he concealed it, meaning he hid it and refused to give the obligatory right of Allah that was due on spending in the zakah, in the sadaqah, or whatever. It has been recorded in the hadith that Prophet قال لا توعي فيوعي الله عليك. Don't hold back your wealth or else Allah will hold back from you. Of course, we know that even from the Muslims who are not paying their zakah will be punished for that. So this should be bared in mind, that when we are speaking about the disbelievers' punishment, we also would have the same way for the believers, the disobedient believers. And we know that there is a lot of the believers or Muslims who are doing al-kaba'ir, or the large sin, like, for example, not paying zakah. And we know that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he made a great war and battles against those who didn't pay the zakah or wanted not to pay the zakah after the passing away of the Prophet. So this is considered to be one of the major sins, that if the Muslim died without paying his zakah and his wealth is having the nisab, and the nisab is the amount of money that he must pay the zakah at that time for it, so he will be punished by this money. So also the word jama'a, you can feel it gathering everything, not only money, gathering everything that he didn't check if it is from halal or haram. He just gathering. This is very important, that even unfortunately some of the Muslims, that they are not having this concept clear in their mind. She can go to, for example, in a restaurant which is giving not halal food and start to say Bismillah and eat. And she's coming to you and telling, I'm just saying Bismillah and eat. What is that? So This is very important, that we must have a clear edge and a clear criterion between the halal and the haram, not just together and to go and to do. So this is wajama. That's why this is from the linguistic technique, beautiful technique, that he didn't tell you jama what he gathered. What jama what. So we just make it open. You can imagine whatever things that he may collect or gather with the disobedience of Allah. Then we'll come to ayah 19. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the mankind without belief, without belief in Allah, true belief in Allah. And we know that believing in Allah, the 6 pillars of Iman or the faith, the last one of them or one of them is believing in Al-Qada and Al-Qadar. Yani believing the divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the destiny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we mentioned at that time, I don't know you were with me or not, about the difference between Al-Qada and Al-Qadar. Al-Qadar, to make it more simple, is the decree, which is the plan that Allah made the qalam or the pencil to write 50,000 years before the creation of anything. The plan of everything will happen in this life and after, and everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. While the qada is the application, the occurrence of this plan on its time on the earth. Okay, this is the difference between them. So as we are Muslims, we have to believe in Allah decree and Allah His decision, how, when exactly this will happen. This is the qada, and we have also to believe in this qada. This is very important for every Muslim to have this feeling. Why? Because it will help us to avoid these bad things will happen in ayah 19 and in ayah 20. What happened in ayah 19, 20, and 21? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing the mankind who is disobedient or disbeliever. We can put them around the same corner now. خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا. The mankind created هَلُوعًا. هَلُوعًا means that impatient. He is writing here, هَلُوعًا is impatient. But actually, the accurate is to be very anxious. هَلُوعًا is coming from al-hala, which is he's very anxious. Anxiety is very severe to the degree that he can't do anything in his life. You know, the anxious people who are sometimes urged to go for taking anti-anxiety medications because they couldn't do anything except that they are all time anxious and fear of something will happen and they cannot live a normal life. So this is a very serious character of anxiety and impatient. So halwa originally coming from the word al-hala in Arabic, which is severe anxiety. This anxiety and impatient at the same time, we can say also impatient because this anxious person, he cannot have time to be calmed down and to think and to be, so we can consider it also that he is impatient. So this anxiety make him what? Two things, that we are in this life having two things to happen to us. Either good things, happy, either you are happy or sad, right? If you just think about your life, all through your life, you have something passing by you to make you happy. And then after that, something passing to make you sad. And the life is alternating between that, happiness and sadness. Whatever the cause of the happiness and whatever the cause of the sadness. Maybe you are happy because, alhamdulillah, you are having good health, you are having money and so on. So you are happy about that. Then another days you are sick, so you are sad, or you are not feeling well, or you lost some of your money. You are not feeling well or sad also. So this is life between these two main categories, happiness, sadness, like that. So what is the reaction of such disbelievers to these two things? You will find the ayat is telling you, إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ, something bad happened to him. What will be his response? إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ, when evil or bad touches him, he will be what? جزوعا. He's afraid, frightful. جزوع, he cannot bear. جزوعا, when he cannot bear that bad thing. Some people is telling you, I cannot bear what I have. I cannot bear this problem. It's above my capability. I'm not able. So this is the jaza that you are unable to bear something bad happen to you. So this is called jaza. And this person is go to despair easily. And the ayat is telling, whenever any harm touches him, he is frightful, worried, completely taken back due to the severity of this terror and his despair that he will receive any good after it. Yani it's not only that he is reacting to such terror or such sadness by severe frightening and he cannot bear it, but also he will think that nothing good will come. This is the end of the world. And this is very common that unfortunately, we can hear from some of the Muslims. If something happened to them, she will tell you, this is the end of the world to me. I can't go further. I can't bear what I am in. This is all from the jaza. So this is if this person have the evil or the bad. So what about if he has something good happen to him? وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ, the good. When the good touches him. When the good touches him. And by the way, we mentioned about the touches. Massahu means touches. That Allah is telling you that from His mercy, that the evil or the bad is not coming to hold or to catch you. It's just touching. Yani very small trial of bad thing that may happen to you. And the same, if the good, very small khair or good touches this person, what he will do? He will turn to be withholding. If he has a lot of money, he will hold the zakah. He will not give sadaqah. So manu'a means he is preventing or withholding. If he attains any blessing from Allah, he is stingy with it, not sharing it with others. All this meaning of manu'a. He will withhold the right of Allah with that blessing. The messenger of Allah in the hadith saying, شَرُّ مَا فِي رَجُلٍ شُحٌّ هَالِعٌ وَجُبْنٌ خَالِعٌ, which means the worst thing that you may find in a man is a greedy impatient. شُحٌّ هَالِعٌ, greedy, impatient, and جُبْنٌ خَالِعٌ, and unrestrained coward. Unrestrained cowardice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning to us the behavior of the disobedient people and the behavior of the disbeliever when he has a good or bad thing to him, he has a bad thing, he become impatient and frightful and frightening about it, and he will think that nothing good will come in the future, and if he has good thing, he will start to withhold it from others and stingy. طيب, what is the exception? The exception is al-musallin. Illa means except. Except whom? Ya Allah, except those who are performing their prayers. So all this description that happens will not happen to those who are performing their prayers. الذين هم على صلاتهم دائمون. دائمون. What means دائمون? Means they guard its times and the elements obligatory in it. It has said that the people who are really observing the time of the salah and go immediately for the salah and make khushu' during their salah and continue on doing that, they are al-musallin. As al-musallin, they are people who doing their prayers in their time and making khushu' during this prayer. On another يعني descriptions we're going to say about those people who will not have this character جزوعة and منوعة, that we're going to have it inshallah next time. But before we go, I would like to say why, as number one, the salah coming as a way of treatment of such bad feelings, impatience and anxiety, stingy, all such things is to be treated. Number one, the first step is the salah. We are all the time on their salah. Why you think that salah or prayer will help to prevent us from having such feelings previously mentioned? Anyone can tell me? Why salah will help us not to be stingy, not to be anxious or impatient? Or why?
Because we're concentrating on Allah and the salah rather than what we're feeling. And we've got khushu and things like that in the prayer, no?
Yes, when you have the khushu' in your salah, what will happen to you?
You're tranquil, you're calm.
You're calm.
Yes,
You're calm
tranquility,
and, yes,
tranquility and quietness will come to your heart, right? I think that most of us feel that when you are, that's why the Prophet ﷺ have a hadith sahih about that. When something bad happened to you, and this will happen to every one of us, and you feel from your heart that you can't stand, you are not able to stand this or to bear this, what you will do, first thing to do, go make wudu and pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anytime. It is nafila. It is not related to obligatory prayers. Anytime you feel that, you will go make wudu and start praying dua during your praying, during your sujood. Start making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Immediately after that, you will find yourself much more better. Why? Because the salah, the first thing to do is salah. Why the first thing to do is salah? Because the salah is your connection to Allah. This is the connection to Allah. يعني, we give an example, and of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the best example to Allah, that when your child was in something troubling him in the school, to the first thing to do, take his phone or her phone and call you, mama, come now, please, I need you. So you will tell him, okay, Habibi, I will come to you now. What he will feel better, will feel supported. He will feel that someone will come and help him. So the same for us. We need the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need support at that critical time. How we can get the help? By immediately doing the prayers at the time that we feel that we are going to lose our souls. Because sometimes the bad things will come to you, start thinking. And of course the shaitan is come along with your nafs, along whispering. You find yourself on the edge. At that particular moment, immediately you go to make wudu and salah and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the help. And أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر